Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you're having a great day so far. Today I wanted to take a little look, actually it's not going to be little, it's going to be quite an in-depth look at your career and your work. I have a few people in my own life that are experiencing some changes in their career and with their work life. So I was curious to see if anybody else wanted to learn a little bit more about what's coming next for them in their career. We're going to take an in-depth look at it, like I said earlier. So we'll see what your energy is right now, your thoughts, unconscious thoughts, past, future, long distance future, maybe a blockage, a guiding energy, and an expression. This is a spread that is in the guidebook for this tarot deck that I'm using today, Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I used it in another reading that I did. It was a romance reading. So if you're curious for a romance reading using this same deck and this, actually the same spread as well, take a look at that video. I will link it for you to go take a look. But today's video is going to be all about career. So stay tuned if you're curious about your career and your work life. You'll see that we have 4 crystals here, 4 piles for you to pick from. If one of the crystals is resonating for you, that's great. Don't go just yet because I have some other information and another way to pick a pile that might interest you. But if one of these is already speaking to you, definitely keep that in mind. But before I explain what I have next for you, I want you to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a new channel. That helps a lot. And if you do like the video and you like your reading, please leave me a like. You don't have to do that now, but if you enjoy the reading, please leave a like. That would also really help me out. The Dreams of Gaia Tarot is very kind, calm, guiding, advice-driven. I really like this deck. So don't expect any super scary information here. It's all going to be very nurturing, guiding towards your best self. Anyways, okay, so we are going to pick, you can pick a crystal here, but I also have this crystal dice that I like to use sometimes. So I'm actually going to roll it for each pile and give it an angel number according to the number that we get on the dice. So a lot of people resonate with angel numbers. They find, they have numbers that are very special to them. So if none of these crystals is speaking to you, maybe one of these numbers will, and that might help guide you towards the correct reading for you. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to roll the dice here. I'll try to get it here on the screen for you. Okay, our first pile is going to be 3. Let me find my angel number here and put it there. Okay, 333 for our first pile. Let's do our second. Oh, went off screen. We have a 1 there, so I'll put 111 down for this pile. Do it for the third. Off screen again, that's a 2. So we'll put 222 here. And a 5 for our last pile. Excellent. Okay. So if one of the crystals, one of the piles wasn't really speaking to you, hopefully one of these numbers is. Take a second, take some deep breaths, maybe meditate a little bit, and I will have the timestamp for you in the description. But before you go, make sure that you're taking what resonates and leave the rest. These are readings for the collective, so sometimes not every piece of information might resonate for you. It's excellent if it does. I'm so happy if it does, but it might not. So leave whatever is not resonating for you and go ahead and go to your reading. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today, and enjoy. Welcome to reading number 1. Let's take a look at what's going on for you with work in your career. We're going to start with this card in the center, which is the card that represents your energy right now. Okay, we have the 4 of water here. So right now you have this energy of self-awareness about you. You're not delusional about what's happening with your career and work right now. You're very self-aware, and I think that's because you've made some mistakes in the past, but you've learned from them and you've accepted yourself and you've learned about yourself through those mistakes. And so now you're at a point where you have this deeper understanding of yourself and what you really want to get out of work in your career. Let's take a look up here at what's in your conscious mind right now. Another water card. Okay. We have the counselor. So perhaps you're feeling some mixed thoughts and mixed emotions about what's going on at work right now and with your career. And you want to perhaps seek out guidance. Maybe there's somebody that has been giving you a lot of guidance and advice about things. And that's what's been on your mind recently, is the advice that you've been given. Or perhaps you're thinking about working in like psychology or social work or some kind of field like that where you're acting as a counselor. You might be doing that now, or you might want to get into it. Maybe that's why it's on your mind. But it could just be this advice that you've been given from somebody in your life. Let's move down here quickly and take a look at the unconscious. Okay, the Sage, you've definitely been given some advice and you're trying to do your best to follow it. I think you're thinking about what's the wise thing to do. This is the energy that's more so in the background. What's the right thing to do? What's the wise thing to do? What advice should I heed or follow? And what advice should I just, take in but not necessarily follow and fully accept? So there's somebody in your life that's giving you a lot of guidance right now about work. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at the past here. King of Water. This is very watery. Maybe perhaps you have some water sign energy in you. King of Water. I think in the past, so these court cards can represent two things. They could be the position that you've held in the past, or this could be a separate person from your past. So this could be that you're the person in charge. So you were the one in charge at work, and perhaps you work in a role that you're identify as a female and it's a male-dominated career, or you identify as a male and it's a female-dominated career. There's a little bit of gender role playing with gender roles happening here, but also very adaptable and very present at work. So you're the person that everyone would go to when there was a problem, and you would remain calm and help them solve it, and could kind of take whatever was coming at you and roll with it. And very present at work as well, which is great. But it looks like, something's clearly changing with that, considering, you've done a lot of reflecting. Perhaps it's you're reflecting on when you were in this kind of role at work, or maybe you still are in this role. You could still be there, but it's just not, this is not the energy right now. Let's take a look at, let's jump over here and take a look at the repression right now. So this is like a blockage that's holding you back from moving towards your greatest good, I guess is a good way to say that. So your blockage, we have the Eight of Earth here. So you've become a little bit jaded and a little bit cynical, and a little negative. Like maybe some bad things have been happening at work and it's just really made you feel negative, and you're kind of jaded. Like, oh, things just aren't going to go well. Like that's just the field that I'm in. Like things are going to be bad. And you have there's like a lot of good things in your career and at your work right now, but you're not appreciating them because like those negative things are really bogging you down and bringing you down. So let's take a look at some guiding energy that might help you deal with this blockage and repression. Okay, we've got the Child. So new beginnings. Look for a new beginning. I don't know if this means to switch your career or find a new job. It could mean that if you're thinking about that right now. Could mean just go for it. Find a new role, find a new job, find a new beginning for yourself. This could also still be a new beginning at the place that you currently work. Like just take a fresh approach. Heal from whatever negativity has happened in the past and just have fun with it and believe that things can go well. Like have that like childlike, almost like naivety to you, like full faith that things are going to go well, and just that go about things with the like, where's the joy in this? Look for the fun and have fun with things at work for sure. That would really help you. Before we jump, these two cards are the future cards. Before we jump there, let's take a look at, this is an expressive energy. So something that is not necessary to figure out right at this moment, but it will help you and it'll unlock a whole new direction if you do figure this energy out. And that is the Six of Fire reversed. So Perhaps this negative jaded energy came about because of a conflict that you had at work, or this could be this could be a conflict with another person. This could be a conflict within yourself about what's going on at work, but that was never fully dealt with, that conflict. Like, it might have just kind of faded into the background and it was never fully resolved. And so this card is kind of like, maybe try to resolve this conflict and figure out what was really going on here, and compromise. Compromise is going to be the key for you. Compromise is going to be important and what's going to unlock this new direction. Perhaps because you're the person in charge, you're used to people listening to you and doing what you want, and not as familiar or comfortable with compromising, but that's going to be the key to unlock this whole new direction. Okay, so let's take a look at the future. This is the near future, so like the next few weeks or so. We have perception. So something's going to happen where your perception is going to change about work. Like the thoughts that you have towards work, your beliefs about work is going to change. And this actually, when it's in a future position like this perception card means that it's actually going to alter your plans. Your plans are going to change pretty drastically in the next few weeks, your long-term plans, your long-term goals, because of this perception change. And I do think that this perception change is probably related to this jaded negative energy that we're feeling here, especially if you take the advice of approaching life with this childlike joy and have fun with things and have a new beginning. If you take this, then I think it will lead you to this. Your perception is going to change, and that's going to alter your long-term goals. So with your long-term goals kind of altered, let's see what the more distant future has in store for you. Okay, we've got the Nine of Fire reversed. For your long-term goals, be wary of overcomplicating things. Do not overcomplicate. Simplify, simplify, simplify. That is going to be the message for you. Things, especially if your plans do change for the future, it might seem very complicated and like there's a lot to figure out, but don't get caught up in that. It's really not as complicated as it seems. Simplify everything, especially if you take this approach, this child approach to the changes that might be coming for you. Then keep things simple like a child would. And I think that you'll end up where you're supposed to be. All right, that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed the reading, please feel free to leave me a like. Let me know in the comments if you also liked, if you resonated with this angel number here or the crystal. I'm not sure what, how people are resonating with things in the video. So please let me know in the comments. Or if you have a question, put it down in the comments as well. Take what resonated, leave the rest. If you feel like none of this really hit, go back to the beginning, pick a new pile, and maybe one of those other readings will hit for you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much for spending some time with me. Okay, reading number 2, welcome. Let's take a look at what's going on in your career. We're going to get a lot of good information, like I mentioned in the introduction. We're going to get your energy first, so let's start there with this card in the middle. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have the Thought card. So, we could just take this at face value. You've been thinking a lot about work and thinking a lot about your career, very deep in thought. Perhaps your thoughts have changed, like your opinion has changed about something, your thoughts, your mind has been changing recently. But I think what's important with this card is to note that your thoughts are very powerful in this situation that you're in right now. Your thoughts are having an impact on what is actually happening around you. So hopefully we get some more information about how your thoughts are impacting things as we take a look at these other cards here. Let's take a closer look at your thoughts right now, actually. This is more your conscious mind. We have the Three of Fire. So perhaps you're thinking about leaving your current job or leaving your current role right now. Not necessarily leaving the place, like the company that you work for or the place that you work, but it could even just be changing roles within the company, but you're thinking about leaving. Because you have a lot of great ideas, you have a lot of ambition, you want to explore and experiment, you're ready for something new, and you're thinking about embarking on that change. consciously. So let's take a look at what's happening unconsciously here. Okay, we've got the King of Air reversed. So this is energy that's a little bit more, that's unconscious, you're not as aware of. You might be like playing some mind games with yourself here. Like you're thinking perhaps a little bit too much, to the point where you're like thinking yourself in circles. You like have this drive to go out and do something, but then you like convince yourself not to do it, and we're playing some mind games. You really want to be the one in control of the situation for your work and your career right now. And because of that, maybe you're trying to like manipulate your own thoughts a little bit, and change the way that you're thinking. Okay, let's take a look at the past. Okay, desire reversed. So in the past, I think you were very worried about other people, in the sense of like, this is what other people are doing with their work and their career, and I feel like I should be doing something similar. Or like, this is what everybody expects out of me, that's what I should do. But it was to the point where you maybe put aside your own true desires in order to make other people happy or live up to what you thought was expected of you. You could have also been maybe a little worried about the wrong thing. So like maybe very worried about making as much money as possible, but as a result, you might have set aside your like true desires in order to get that goal. So let's take a look at the repression energy. So this is something that's blocking you from the greatest good in terms of work and things like that. Okay, we have the 9 of water. So something at work might make you kind of emotional, might trigger you a little bit, make you a little bit emotional. And you have these emotional reactions to things that are happening at work, but you don't really want to take responsibility for them. And you don't want to examine what's really like triggering you and making you upset. So something happens at work, you get upset about it, and then you don't actually want to take responsibility for what you did when you were upset, and examine why it is that you reacted that way. So let's take a look at maybe like a guiding energy here, and this will help you resolve this repression and move towards things in your future, which we'll look at last. So this is the 9 of air. Similar to this thought card here, your thoughts are actually very powerful. I think you're pretty good at manifesting. If you haven't tried manifesting before, I think that you should try it, because this is your guiding energy. You really do have infinite possibilities, and all that you have to do in order to embrace those possibilities and like go for those possibilities is know yourself and know what you want and manifest them. You have the power to bring things out from your mind into reality, and thoughts is a big theme here. And I think that if you were able to harness the power of your thought, you can make a lot of great changes here. Let's take a look at this expressive energy. So this isn't something that you necessarily is like of the utmost importance that you need to figure out right now. But if you do figure this out, it'll unlock a whole new direction for you and all these new possibilities. So it's worth exploring. We have love reversed. So you need to let go of your past. Whatever's happened in your past, it's happened, it's over. We have to let it go. You also need to let go of your negative voice, the negative voice in your head, the negative thoughts in your head that are preventing you from fully loving yourself. You need to let that go. Again, you in particular, your thoughts are very powerful, and you have the power to manifest the future that you want. But these negative thoughts are really holding you back, and that little voice in your head is really holding you back. And if there's other people in your life as well that are being very negative and preventing you from, like they're telling you that you can't do it, you won't make it, things like that, you need to let that go, let them go. Don't take what they're saying to heart, and don't let it impact your thoughts. All right, let's take a look at your future cards. We have the near future and the distant future. So in the near future first, we have the youth. Okay, very interesting, because this card means that the future is really what you make of it. That's that energy of the youth right there, which goes in line with all this other stuff and all these other cards. The future is, your near future is really what you make of it. And the advice that comes along with this youth card is to live in the moment, live in the present. And I do think that if you do put in the work to change your mindset and change your thoughts and do some manifesting, you'll see the results pretty quickly with this youth card. But the trick will be to live in the present and embrace and accept whatever is coming for you, opportunities that are coming for you in the near future. Okay, our last card is the more distant future. And we have the Sage reversed. So in the distant future, I think if things are really changing and you're being presented with some new opportunities here, in the more long term, you're going to want to listen and take advice of the people who are around you that are like wiser and know more. They'll actually have good advice, and it's important to take it, especially for this long-term future. Trust the right people, though, in particular. Some people in the future might be trying to give you advice and tell you what to do and whatever, but they have no ground to stand on and they're not really worth listening to. And you're going to have to trust your intuition on that, whether they're going to be the right people to listen to or not. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. But there will be people in your life that are giving you quality advice, and you should take that. And sometimes advice can sometimes be criticism. So if you do receive some criticism, take it with a grain of salt. Take it in, make some changes, and it'll really benefit you in the long term. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed your reading today. Remember to take what resonated and leave the rest. Not everything will resonate sometimes because this is a collective reading. Let me know if you liked selecting your pile, if you use the angel number, or if you just use the crystals. I'm not really sure how everybody is doing with, how people like to select their reading. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. And if you have a question that you want me to answer, please leave that in the comments as well. If you liked your reading, please leave a like and subscribe. That would really help me out. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. And thank you so much for spending time with me. Welcome to reading number 3. So we're going to take a look at your career. We're going to get a lot of good information out of this. We're going to start with your energy, which is this card here in the center. Let's take a look. Okay. Emotion and intellect. These cards are special to the deck. They speak about the balance of things. And in the water element, it's the balance between emotion and intellect. That can also be like the heart and the mind. What's truly motivating you right now? I think that's the energy. There's a little bit of an imbalance here. Are we being led more by the heart or by the mind here when it comes to work? What's motivating you, fear or love even? Is it a fear of lack or scarcity, or is it a love for what you do and a love for what you bring into the world through your work? Could also be like, what do you think you should be doing versus what do you actually want to do? All of these types of things. There's a little bit of an imbalance here. And I guess perhaps, you're the one that knows what exactly of those apply to you. Let me know in the comments if one of those stuck out to you, though. Let's take a look at your conscious thoughts. 9 of Air. Are we manifesting? That's the manifesting card for me. 9 of Air. Are you thinking about all of the possibilities, where you could go? We're fantasizing a little bit, but the fantasizing about what we could be doing for work and career rather than what's really happening right now. We're kind of stuck in our mind. But this card is also about bringing things from the mind into reality. Like, it's very powerful. So you might be actively manifesting right now, or perhaps you're just fantasizing, but even that act of fantasizing is having an impact on things right now. So it's important to keep that in mind. In the more subconscious mind here, we have the 6 of Earth reversed. So I think perhaps you maybe volunteer yourself for things a little bit too much, and then you get mad about it. It's that martyr energy. Like, we are volunteering to help a lot of people. We're doing too much for other people. We end up feeling drained and mad about it all, and it's like it's not a good vibe. So perhaps that's where this imbalance is coming from, is that we're doing things too much for others and not for ourselves. What's really motivating you here? The other people or yourself? And perhaps because of this, being upset about doing too much for others, maybe that's how we've ended up in this like fantasy, manifesting, wanting things to be different, hoping that things will change, things like that. In your past here, we had the King of Fire reversed. Okay, perhaps you've lost your tempers in the past. Something happened and you got really upset about it. Perhaps the grind caught up with you, all the responsibilities caught up with you, something went wrong and you kind of lost your temper. Sometimes with the king here, especially in work, career context, that can mean that you're in a more of a leadership position, the one making the decisions, but might not be. That might not resonate for you, but it might have just been an instance where something went wrong and you kind of lost your temper. Again, that could be contributing. That could be because you were doing too much for other people and not taking care of yourself, and maybe it's because of this imbalance that you're having here. Let's take a look at the repression. So this is like a blockage that's preventing you from reaching your greatest good, highest potential. I can flip it over. Here we go. Okay, the counselor. So we're having a hard time being empathetic and understanding of other people. Perhaps you think that things should be done a certain way. You have your way of doing things. And when people aren't similar to you, that can cause perhaps some frustration. This card is also about having difficulty listening to others. So taking advice from others. And that could be because you feel that you have a way of doing things and that's what's best for you. But it is causing a little bit of a blockage here. So let's figure out this guiding energy here that might help you overcome that blockage. Okay, we have the Four of Fire. You really need to focus your mind and your emotions. Keep your emotions in control. Keep your thoughts in control. You need to have a little bit more discipline about things, especially with work. You need to have a little bit more discipline. You need more practice. You got to increase your skills a bit. We got to be focused and driven in order to overcome this blockage. And I think perhaps if there was an instance where you lost your temper, having a little bit more control and discipline of your emotions will help you take other people's perspectives into account and move forward with a little bit more of an even temper in terms of work and things like that. Let's take a look at the expression. So this is something that if you figure this out, it will, unlock a whole new direction for you, but it's not necessarily something that is like needs to happen right now, but it's good to address and figure out because it'll unlock a new direction for you. So we have the Eight of Fire reversed. You have a tendency to kind of hold yourself back a little bit. You really need to be your own advocate and be your biggest cheerleader. And then on top of that, you really need to follow through. That discipline, you really need to follow through with it. If you start something, you need to finish. That is going to really help you out here. Follow through with things. If you make, commitments, make promises to people, make sure you're following through. That'll really help you unlock this new path. Okay, let's take a look at what we have in the future. This is the near future, so like the next few weeks or so. Okay, we've got we have the Seven of Air reversed here. So you might be presented, actually, this discipline and the focusing of the emotions might really help you with this. You might be presented with some viewpoints from people at work that might be kind of extremist. And a little bit, I don't know, the word that is associated with this card is kind of like fundamentalist. But I think what you should take away here is that you are going to perceive their opinions as being quite extreme and irrational, and it's going to be your job to tone them down and also encourage everybody to take the more moderate approach. And I think this focus and discipline will help you keep your cool while you're dealing with this and help people take that moderate middle path. Let's take a look at your long-term future. Okay, this is actually a great card to see here. The Union card in a future position is definitely like a void. Like, you really, truly, whatever you want to make happen in the future can happen if you center yourself, if you act with peace and intention. If we're addressing this imbalance here, you truly do have the power to create whatever you want for your long-term future. And I see that you already are fantasizing and manifesting and things like that in your conscious thoughts. Really address the things that are happening here, and this could like be life-changing for you. There could be a lot in store if you become one with yourself, make yourself whole, center yourself. There's this talk, not what I mean. There is this concept of the shadow self and integrating the shadow self. If you do some shadow work and work on these things, work on this repression, make yourself whole, have that union, the world is really your oyster. I'm excited for you. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the reading today. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Let me know what you thought about the angel numbers as well. If you liked that, put that in the comments so I know and I can start to integrate some other ways to have people select their reading, I think. I've been also thinking about doing zodiac signs. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. Or if you have a question that you want me to answer in another video, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, please subscribe, leave a like if you liked the video, and I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for spending some time with me. Okay, welcome to reading number 4. I almost said 5 because of these numbers here, but it's reading number 4. We have our angel number here in our crystal. We're going to get a lot of good information about your work and your career situation. This spread is so good. I love doing this spread, but we're going to start with your energy, which is this card here in the middle, if I don't make a mess of all the other cards. Okay, we have the 10 of air. So you may have recently left your old role, your old job, your old position, things like that. Something about your work position you might have walked away from recently, but it's because you have this like understanding of knowing who you are, and you know what you want, and you aren't afraid to show it. You're seeking better alignment within your work right now. That's your energy. That's the vibe between what you're doing and like who you really are. Like, you want those things to match. So that's the vibe right now. Let's take a look at what is going on in your conscious thoughts. Okay, we got healing. So you could either be thinking about how some like health issues are impacting your work right now. It could be as simple as that, health issues. But it could also be you're thinking a lot about like how to recover from, I guess maybe if you did walk away from a situation, how to recover from that, how to heal from that. We're healing from something and it's affecting our work, or we're healing from something that's happened at work. I think we're going to get some information from the other cards. I don't know if we'll need to ask for clarification just yet. Let's see what's going on. So we're going to take a look at the unconscious here. The self reversed. Interesting. So unconsciously, the beliefs of others are still actually impacting you. Other people in your life or people in your community might have expectations for you, or at least you perceive that as being the case, that people are expecting things from me. I'm supposed to be doing something else. People are wanting things from me. You might not acknowledge it because it's more unconscious, but it is impacting you, especially now that you're on this journey of trying to, you've figured out who you are and what you want. But in the background, these things are still kind of at play. So let's see. I think we're going to get see what the other cards have to say as well. Let's take a look at your past. Queen of Earth. Okay, so doing some work with your hands, I think. Or it could be work related to nature or the outdoors, but it could also be a job where you have to be very supportive and very nurturing of other people. So I tend to think of nurses, caregivers, teachers, doctors, like anybody whose job it is to take care of other people. A mom, domestic work, 100%, nannying, babysitting, things like that, where you really have to take care of other people. This is maybe the role that you've left behind recently, but this could just be about, this work experience in the past of having to do all this work for these other people, working with your hands, working outdoors, growing things, nurturing things, like gardener, even outside people. This work experience is still kind of at play here. So let's take a look at what the repression is for you. This is like the blockage, something that's holding you back from like your greatest good. And we have abundance here. So I think we might need to practice a little bit more gratitude. You do have a lot of good things in your life related to career and work, but we're not really appreciating it as much as maybe we should. What's interesting about the abundance card is it can be about physical things and appreciating like physical things that you have, but it can also be about appreciating the people around you and the work that they're doing and appreciating what they do for you or what they're doing for the company or what they're doing in general. Having a little bit more appreciation because you do have people that are supporting you or you have resources available to you, and perhaps we need to just appreciate them a little bit more. This next card is the guide. So it could help with this, overcoming this blockage, but it could just also help with this situation in general. Let's take a look. Okay, Queen of Air. So being realistic is going to really help you. Step back and observe things without trying to be too emotional about them. Don't be super emotional. Just like take a look at what's really going on around you. Really take a second and observe. And if you have plans that you would like to enact, be organized and actually really plan them out and be decisive before you do anything. The trick with the Queen of Air is to keep emotion out of it. So we don't want to be too emotional about things. We want to be observant, we want to be calculated, and we want to plan and organize and things like that. Okay, let's take a look at the expressive energy. So this is something that you might not have to figure it out right now, but it's really going to help you if you do figure it out, because it'll unlock a whole new path for you, and it's definitely worth looking at. Okay, these two are very similar energies, this and this. So the 4 of Air, I mean, you can see we've got the clock here. It's all about routine. Banish the clutter from your environment. If you've got a chaotic workspace, a chaotic home, get rid of all the clutter, clean things up, organize things. Like an organized space will help you have an organized mind. Get yourself into a routine. I don't know if your job, I know a lot of people like work from home and stuff, and that can sometimes be difficult to have a routine when you're working from home because there's a lot of distractions at home. So the 4 of Air is all about setting up a routine, limit those distractions, have a lot of structure to your day. And then when you have something that you do want to do, you need to make the time for it. Perhaps you have a passion and you're so caught up in all these other things that you have to do during the day that you actually don't have any time to pursue it and follow it. Make time for the things that you're passionate about, and having some routine and some structure and setting aside time will really help with that. Let's take a look at your future. So we're going to start with like the near future, which I like to think of as like the next few days or weeks, something like that. We have the 9 of Fire. This is a great card to see here because this card is about attainment. If you're working on something right now, your hard work is going to pay off. You're going to do well at it. And like this card is about having enough skill to deal with whatever obstacles come your way. So you're going to feel very confident and self-assured, and you're not going to be worried about things because you know that you can handle it. So if something comes up, something goes wrong, you know that you have the skill to handle it and you know what you need to do in order to fix it and overcome it. And it's going to work because this is about attainment and your hard work paying off and things going smoothly and things going well. So very excited for the near future. Let's take a look at the long term. I love seeing aces in future positions because I think new beginnings are so exciting. And when we have the Ace of Water here, that's a new beginning in your long-term future. So like a new career opportunity for you, but it's water. So it's not just a job. This is something that you're very passionate about and you feel very strongly for and you're very emotionally attached to. I think it's interesting that your guiding energy here is to be decisive and keep emotion out of it. But in the long-term future, you're going to have this like passion project, this opportunity presented to you. I think that's very interesting. Perhaps you do need to have your emotions in check in order to get to the point where this is actually presented to you. Maybe. Very exciting though. I'm excited for you. Those are 2 great cards to have in your future. Let me know in the comments if you did pick this pile based off of the angel number. I've been thinking about some other ways for people to select piles other than just, the crystals. So let me know if you liked this, or I've been thinking about trying things like zodiac signs and things like that. If you also have a question that you'd like me to answer for like a whole reading, I can do that too. Leave that in the comments. If you liked this reading, please give me a like. That would really help me out, and subscribe as well since I'm a new channel. Take what resonated from this and leave the rest. If you feel like none of it really resonated, go back to the beginning and try selecting a new pile. Maybe you just needed some more time to like ground yourself and connect with the universe and see what pile spoke to you. Otherwise, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoy your reading, and I'll see you in the next one.